pre-stressing force of 235 kilonewton, 235 kilonewton, okay, at a suitable eccentricity, at a suitable eccentricity such that resultant stresses at the soffit of the beam at the center of the span is zero. Please note down, please read it carefully. They are given the condition. The beam is to be pre-stressed by an effective pre-stressing force of 235 kilonewton at suitable eccentricity. We don't know the eccentricity. We don't know the eccentricity. Okay. Such that resultant stresses at the soffit of the beam at the note down this condition, very important condition. Resultant stresses at the soffit of the beam at the center of the span is zero. So with these condition, let us calculate the number one, find the eccentricity required for the force. For example, if I want to apply the 235 kilonewton pre-stressing force, at what particular eccentricity, okay, I need to apply, because we already know that eccentricity is defined as the distance between the centroidal axis of the section to the distance where you are going to apply the pre-stressing force. So that distance is called eccentricity. So that eccentricity, they are not being given in the problem. You need to calculate that using these conditions. And the second condition says, or second case says that if the tendon is concentric, please note down, if the tendon is concentric, okay, comma, what should be the magnitude of pre-stressing force for the resultant stresses to be zero at the bottom fiber of the central span section? Is it clear? So in the first condition, they have been asking what is the eccentricity for this condition. For the same condition, that is resultant stresses to be zero at the bottom fiber of the central span. Okay, apart from this, if the tendon is concentric, what will be the magnitude of the pre-stressing force? So please read the problem carefully. So that's what I've been told. Whenever you're going to start with a solution, first read the problem carefully. So in this problem, okay, the first thing is the cross section is symmetrical I section. That is the first thing. Next, they have been given the dimension of all the I section. That is one thing. Next, it is subjected to live load of 4 kilonewton per meter. That means it will be subjected to external loads. That means dead load, live load, both will come into the picture. That is one thing. Next, they have been given the pre-stressing force of 235 kilonewton. Next, so they have been given a one condition called resultant stresses at the soffit of the beam. Okay, resultant stresses at the soffit of the beam. Okay, at the center of the span is zero. That means whatever the stresses that will come due to the effect of pre-stressing force, dead load, live load. So whatever the stress that will be encountered due to this, okay, are the resultant stresses, okay, at the soffit means bottom of the beam. Please note down, soffit means bottom of the beam for central span condition, that is mid span condition, is zero. That means what I want to say here is resultant stresses at soffit means, which is that resultant stress? F inferior. F inferior. Okay, you already know resultant stresses at the top is F superior, resultant stresses at the bottom is F inferior. Okay, so for F inferior zero condition, calculate the eccentricity. Next, calculate the pre-stressing force for F inferior zero and the tendon is concentric. Is it clear? Okay, so now let me go ahead with the problem. So let me draw the diagram. beautifully draw the symmetrical eye section. Okay, and they have been clearly mentioned the dimension. So you hope you know that. Okay, so this will be your flange. Okay, this will be your flange. Okay, and this will be your web. Okay, and this will be your web. Next, and the flange dimension they have been given is 200 millimeter. The width of the flange is 200 millimeter, and then the depth of the flange is 60 millimeter. I have given the depth of the flange. Next, overall depth of this eye section is 400 millimeter. Draw that. Okay, and since they have given only one dimension of the flange, it indicates that the top flange and the bottom flange, both the dimensions are same. Next, they have been given the thickness of the web. The thickness of the web is 18. So this is the thickness of the web. Okay. So this particular thing, 1 second. So this will be your thickness of the web. So this particular distance will be your thickness of the web. Next. So these are all the dimensions have been noted down. Okay. So now this is the longitudinal span, or whatever have been written, 8-meter span, which is simply supported span, subjected to a live load of 4 kilonewton per meter. So these are all the data they have been given. Apart from this, they have given the pre-stressing force. So as I stated, okay, in the last session, so immediately, okay, if you want to calculate the eccentricity, it is not possible at all, because in the last problem, I used to give the number of wires, okay, and the respective distance. So you people have very easily calculated the eccentricity, okay, by calculating the centroidal distance of tendon, and later on, okay, deducting that centroidal distance by centroidal axis of a section. So we used to follow that procedure, just like a last problem. Okay, but those conditions cannot be applied here, because they are not being given heavy number of wires here, no distance, nothing. Okay, hence we need to, okay, go ahead with one more conditions, or I can say we need to calculate this eccentricity in a different way. So hence you can see here the eccentricity, whatever they have been mentioned, or whatever we are going to calculate, with these condition we need to go ahead. Okay, so for that, whatever, okay, the things we have been solved in the last class, go ahead with the same.
Sir?
Yes?
Sir, people are getting in. Can you please allow them, sir? They are waiting for your permission.
No, I will not allow. This is a last warning. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Now, coming to the priests, because I'm recording the video, please don't disturb in between. Please don't disturb. Okay. So pre-stressing force is 235 kilonewton. Okay, which they have been given in the problem. Now, let me first calculate the cross-sectional area. Cross-sectional area of this eye section. So capital A is equal to, let me consider the flange dimension. That is 200 into 60. The area of this, okay, let me divide this. Okay, I will divide this into 3 sections. So let me call this as number 1. Okay, and let me call this as number 2. And let me call this as number 3. Okay, so these are the 3 sections. That means 3 rectangle. Okay, so earlier it was only 1 rectangle. Okay, we used to give width into depth. So now the 3 rectangles we need to consider, okay, in order to calculate the area of the eye section. How? Just like what we did in rectangle, consider the same 3 rectangles. Width into depth, width into depth, width into depth. Same like I've been done. See here, let me consider the flange dimension. That is 200 is the width, and the depth of the flange is 60. Depth of the flange is 60. So 200 into 60. So that's have been multiplied. But we have a 2 flanges, so hence have been multiplied into 2. and both the dimensions are same. Both the dimensions are same. Hence, have been multiplied with the 2. Okay. Next, plus the web dimension. What is the web dimension? They have given the thickness. How to calculate this? How to calculate this? Okay, let me go ahead with this. How to calculate the depth of this flange? Sorry, depth of the web. Okay,
28.
overall depth is 400 minus 120. How much you will get?
280.
280 millimeter. So this distance is 280 millimeter. So this distance is 280 millimeter. Okay, so now 80 is the width and depth is 280. So 80 into 280. Substitute in the calculator. 200 into 60 into 2 plus 80 into 280. Okay, please one of you keep on checking the answers. 46,400 millimeter square is the answer. Hope you get the same answer. Is it clear? Next. Okay, please
Yes,
check
sir.
the answers. Check the answers in the calculator. Next, we'll move on to the next. The next is second moment of area or moment of inertia. So now it is a very, very important thing. So now please listen here. So the last one, in the last problem, it is a rectangular section. For rectangular section, we already know the formula. For a rectangular section, the moment of inertia formula is BD cube by 12. That is B into capital D cube by 12. So here also we can use a same formula. That is moment of inertia I is equal to moment of inertia of the first section plus moment of inertia of the second section plus moment of inertia of the third section. Okay, and all the three are rectangle. So hence I can go at BD cube by 12 plus second one is also rectangle, BD cube by 12 plus BD cube by 12. Because all the three are rectangle. So that is 200 into 60 cube by 12 plus 80 is the width. Please be careful. 80 into 280 cube by 12 plus 200 into 60 cube by 12. Okay. So by substituting this, I will repeat. This is the first section, which is rectangle, which is BD cube by 12. This is the moment of inertia formula about the central axis. So hence B into D cube by 12 plus B into D cube by 12. Okay, right. Next, so this was the thing you used to follow. Okay, but apart from this, we also need to consider one more thing. Okay, what I can say. Y1 minus y bar 1. Hope you remember your basic engineering mechanics class or strength of material class. Hope you know that. Okay, that is BD cube by 12. Okay, the moment of inertia of the first section plus, okay. Okay, then can you tell me the formula? Area of that first section, then y1 minus, one second, y1 minus y bar whole square. So like that, same thing for a second section. Okay, like that we need to go ahead. Is it clear? Is it clear? I think you remember this formula. Do you remember this formula? Do you people remember this formula? That is, moment of inertia of the first section is BD cube by 12 plus area of the first section into y1 minus y bar whole square plus moment of inertia of the second section about the central axis. Formula is BD cube by 12 plus A2 into y2 minus y bar whole square plus moment of inertia of the third section BD cube by 12 plus A3 into y3 minus y bar whole square. So like that we need to do. Is it clear? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand? Earlier problem it was just a rectangle. So that's why we used to follow BD cube by 12. Now it is the I section, and this I section comprises of 3 rectangles, and those 3 rectangles we can solve by this formula. That is, the moment of inertia of this section is equal to BD cube by 12 plus A1 into y1 minus y bar whole square plus moment of inertia of the second section, that is BD cube by 12 plus area of the second section into y2 minus y bar whole square, same like I3. So let me see how to substitute this. First, let me calculate the y bar. Okay, let me calculate the y bar, because I'm going to teach you in 2 different ways. So this is the very lengthy method. This is a very lengthy method. Okay. And also I'm going to teach you a very simpler method. Okay. So now you know B, now you know D, and also you know what is the A1, that is B into D. But you don't know what is Y1 and you don't know what is Y bar. So how to calculate this? So before getting to know this, first let me calculate the Y bar. How to calculate the Y bar of this section, that is central axis of the section. So the formula, okay, we are going to use is A1 Y1 plus A2 Y2, okay, plus A3 Y3, okay, divided by A1 plus A2 plus A3. So by this formula, first calculate the Y bar, and Y bar you can calculate either from the bottom or from the top, but you need to mention clearly. Let me calculate this from the bottom. So Y bar B. Okay. So now let me teach you. I think many of you know this, but I also will repeat. Okay. So this is the first section. Okay. A1, that is 200 multiplied by 60. Please note down. Please listen carefully. Okay. A1 first section 200 multiplied by 60. Next, Y1. What is the definition of Y1? The Y1 is nothing but centroidal distance of the first section measured from the reference axis. Okay, centroidal distance of the first section measured from the reference axis. So let me consider the reference axis. So this is your reference axis. Let me notate it by RA. That means whatever the distance I'm going to calculate, that will be measured from the bottom. So how to calculate this Y1? So that is, so this distance is, Y1 distance is, okay, centroidal axis, since it is a rectangle, it will divide the exactly Y1 at this point. Am I right? Because it is a rectangle. So Y1 which will be measured from this axis or from the reference axis. So what is the distance? 400 is the total distance. Deduct half of this, that is 30. You will get 370.
370.
So you will get 370. That means Y1 is 370. So this is your Y1. Fine. Next, go to the second section, A2. So what is A2? 80 is the width and depth is 280. 80 into 280 is the area 2. What is Y2? Y2 is this one. That is, this is also rectangle and this will also divide exactly into half. That means, let
200.
me go with this. So this is your y2. So always I am going to measure with respect to reference axis y2. That is half of this. How much?
200.
200. Is it clear? Exactly half of this. It is 200. That means this is the central axis of this, of the second section, because it is a rectangle. Okay. So this, I need to measure the distance, from here. Is it 200? I think someone told answer 200. Is
Yes,
it
sir.
200? Hello?
Yes, sir. Is
Is it
it correct, sir?
200? Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is it 200? It is 140 plus 60, 200, or the entire section is 400, which is half of this is 200. Next, A3, that is third section. The third section is also a symmetrical flange, that is 200 into 60 is A3, and then the distance Y3,
30.
distance Y3. So this
60 by
is
2.
your what? Yeah, this is your Y3. This is your y3. Okay. So substitute this. Divided by a1 plus a2 plus a3. You will get the y bar answer from the bottom. Okay. So that you are going to substitute here. That is BD cube by 12 plus a1 into y1 minus y bar bottom square in the bracket. Y1 minus y bar square should be in the bracket. Next, moment of inertia of the second section, it is BD cube by 12 plus A2 into, one second. Okay, A2 into, open the flower bracket, Y2, sorry, square bracket, Y2 into Y bar whole square. Like that, BD cube by 12, plus A3 into, Y3 minus Y bar whole square. So like that we need to do. Okay, so by substituting everything, because you already know everything, A1 you know, Y1 you know, Y bar you know, everything you know. Okay, you will get the answer. So this is the one methodology we can follow. Okay, otherwise, in a very simpler way, we can calculate this. Okay, whenever you get a symmetrical I section, you need not to go with this lengthy procedure. Very simple procedure I will teach you. Okay, so let me consider this rectangle. You already know this. So this is 200 and this is 400. Okay, this is also 200. This is also, this thing. Okay, so this is what the I section we know. Am I right? Am I right? Now, please note down here. Okay, so this is 200, this is 400, this is 200, this is 400, this is 200, this is 400, and this one is 80. That's all we know. So first, let me treat this as a rectangular section. Okay, let me treat this as a rectangular section. Okay, so for this rectangular section, let me apply the formula BD cube by 12. That is, you know that for rectangular section, 200 into 400 cube by 12. Am I right? 200 into 400 cube by 12. Am I right? Okay. But in this rectangular portion, you need to deduct this portion. Am I right? Okay, because this is a hollow or unfilled portion. Am I right? Are you getting my point? So this is an unfilled portion. Okay, that means section, you deduct these two hatched portion. How to deduct that? In moment of inertia way only. How to deduct that? So in order to deduct this portion, you need to know the width of this and depth of this. How to know that? You already know the distance of this. How much? 80. Am I right? Am I right? Okay.
Okay.
This distance is 80. So 200 minus 80, how much? 200 minus 80, how much? 120.
120.
Okay. So that 120 will divide this into 2. That is, this is 60. This is 60. Am I right? Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So now, okay. So this width you came to know. Now what is the depth? You know that already. 400 minus of 60 and 60. That is 280. So now let me go with the formula. So width and the depth. So in the total moment of inertia of the section, deduct these two parts of a moment of inertia. That is 200 into BD cube by 12 minus 60 is the width and depth is 280. 60 into 280 cube by 12. How many sections are there like that? Two sections, hence 2. That means in the total this section, deduct these two sections or inertia, moment of inertia. Then you will get the answer. So which one is easier for you? Which one is easier?
This one, sir.
Yes. You can follow either this lengthy procedure or you can follow this very simpler procedure. And this can be done only when it is symmetrical. Please note down. Please note down. If this is unsymmetrical I section, we cannot go ahead with this formula. We need to go with this compulsorily with this formula. Whenever there is a symmetrical I section, at that instance, you can go with this formula or with this method. Hope the answer is clarified. Anyone, you can check the answer, whether it is right or wrong answer. You can check it. Okay. Fine. So we'll move. I think it is right. 847.15 into 10 to the power of 6 millimeter to the power of 4. So next, let me move on to the sectional modulus. Okay. So here, once again, I have been written ZT and ZB as same. Why? Why ZT and ZB are same? Because it is a symmetrical I section. It is a symmetrical I section. Okay, the neutral axis lies exactly at the center. If I divide the section into two, okay, one will be the mirror image of the other because the area, depth, everything is same as that of above. The flange dimension are same. Hence, okay, the neutral axis will lie exactly at the center. So hence, okay, the y bar of this I section is 400 divided by 2, that is 200. So with this, I am going to calculate the Z. Okay, so since ZT and ZB are same, okay, which is equal to I divided by YT or YB. Okay, if it is unsymmetrical, we need to calculate ZT and ZB are same. Why? Because YT and YB will not be same. Okay. So substitute this moment of inertia divided by this YT or YB, you will get the answer in millimeter cube. That is 4.235 10 to the power of 6 millimeter cube. Next, self-weight of the beam. Okay, RWD, that is cross-sectional area. Please note down now. Now, it is in millimeter square. It is in millimeter square. Is it clear? So earlier you used to calculate very easily for rectangle. Okay, now it is in millimeter square. Okay, so now divide that into 10 to the power of 6. Okay, why? Because we need to convert that millimeter square into meter square. Okay, that is 0.0464 meter square into 24, that is density. Since they have not been given in the problem, you can consider 24 or 25. Better you solve or consider 25. Better you consider 25. Okay. So now I've been considered 24. I will proceed with this only. Okay, value only. So 0.04640 meter square into 24 kilonewton per meter cube will get you the answer 1.11 kilonewton per meter. Please note this point. It's very, very important. If you substitute in a hurry 46400 into 24, you're gone. This is in millimeter square and this is in meter. So please note down all these things very carefully. Okay. And you already know what is the live load. The WLL or WL is 4 kilonewton per meter. So now let us calculate the moments for this. That is MDL is equal to, okay, since always it will be UDL at the center of the span you are calculating, hence WD into L square by 8. So that WD how much? Okay, is 1.11 into 8 square by 8. 1.11 into 8 square by 8. That is 8.88 kilonewton meter. Next, ML, okay, equal to WL into L square by 8. The live load already they have been given in the problem, that is 4 into, okay, the span is 8 square divided by 8. So the answer will be 32 kilonewton meter. Okay, so now, so all these basic parameters have been calculated. A, P, I, Z, okay, WD, WL, MD, ML. So these are all the basic parameters you have been calculated. Okay, so now let us proceed with the condition. What you want now? In first, I want eccentricity. How? By applying this condition. What is that condition? That condition is, okay, the resultant stresses, okay, the resultant stresses at the soffit of the beam at the center of the span is 0. What is that? Let us see. So let us write down that condition. The resultant stresses at the soffit of the beam is 0. What it indicates? Resultant stress. Immediately it should strike to your mind. So resultant stress means what? Either it is F superior or F inferior. Am I right? So now he is mentioning at the bottom of the beam or at the soffit of the beam. Soffit means what? Bottom. That means
F inferior.
Considering F inferior 0, by considering F inferior 0, calculate the eccentricity. Fine. Let me write down the formula. So F inferior is equal to, what is the formula? So this will fall into the third case. What is the third case? The third case is the beam is subjected to pre-stressing force, dead load, live load, all the things. So for that, the formula is P by A, that is direct stress, plus, why it is plus? At the bottom, I am inducing pre-stressing force, hence it is plus P by Z because of eccentricity. Eccentricity, please note down, eccentricity, P by Z minus, why it is minus? Because when the beam is subjected to the dead load and live load, the stresses developed due to dead load at the bottom is negative tensile stresses, hence minus. So MD by Z minus ML by Z. Okay. So now let me apply the condition. So that is by applying F inferior 0, calculate the eccentricity. So in the last problem, all the data we have been given, you used to substitute and get the F inferior. But in this left-hand side, making a left-hand side data 0, calculate the right-hand side missing data. Is it clear? Okay, so let me substitute this. Okay, 235 10 to the power of 3 Newton divided by 46,400 millimeter square. Newton per millimeter square. Once again, same P and millimeter cube. Okay, E you don't know, you need to calculate. Okay, MD substitute, which will be in kilonewton meter, I need to convert into Newton millimeter. Please be very careful. Divided by Z. Next, 32 into 10 to the power of 6 divided by Z. Okay. So with this, okay, substitute and know the eccentricity value. The eccentricity which you have been obtained is 82.80 millimeter. Is it clear? 82.80 millimeter. You can check the answer. Next, the second case says that if the tendon is concentric, that is one condition, and also resultant stresses at the soffit of the beam is 0. So, okay, earlier one condition get E, in this two condition, that is tendon is concentric and also the bottom fiber, the resultant stresses at the bottom or a soffit or a bottom fiber is 0. Once again the F inferior is 0. Apply the same formula, but here the case is different. It is not eccentric pre-stressing, it is concentric pre-stressing. That means whatever the cable have been put inside the concrete, so those cable will pass through the centroidal axis. Will pass through the centroidal axis. Is it clear? So once if the cable passes through the centroidal axis of the section, which indicates eccentricity 0 and also which indicates bending stress is 0, hence, so this terminology will become 0. Am I right? Am I right? This E will become 0. So this entire bending stress will become 0. No bending stress. But the beam will be subjected to the external load such as dead load and live load. Hence, you need to consider this dead load moment stresses and live load moment stresses. Substitute this and get me the answer. So like this, we need to go ahead with the solution or we need to go ahead with the problem. Okay. So hope the concept has been clarified. Okay. Any doubts? You can go ahead. Okay. At the last. So this is regarding this problem. If you have any doubts, you can ask.
Sir, can you repeat once again self-weight of the beam?
Self-weight of the beam is cross-sectional area multiplied by the density of the concrete. So that means cross-sectional area they have been given in millimeter square. Convert that into meter square. That means divided by 10 to the power of 6. Divided by 10 to the power of 6. Okay. So that will get you 0.046400. Okay. So whatever the answer you have been obtained in millimeter square, divide that by 10 to the power of 6. Okay. You will get 0.0464 into density of concrete is 24 kilonewton per meter cube. You will get this answer. Is it clear?
Okay, sir.
Fine. So this is regarding a problem. Okay.
Sir, last point yaake PE by Z 0, sir.
I think you are not listening to my lecture itself. Since E is 0, since the tendon is concentric, no bending stress will be developed. If you substitute E is 0, what will be this terminology will become?
Okay.
Okay. So this is regarding the problem. Any other doubts? Fine. So let me proceed with the second problem. Next problem. Okay. So the next problem says an unsymmetrical I section beam is used to support an unsymmetrical I section beam is used to support an imposed load of 2 kilonewton per meter over a span of 8 meter. An unsymmetrical I section beam is used to support an imposed load of 2 kilonewton per meter over a span of 8 meter. Full stop. The sectional details are top flange 300 wide and 60 mm thick. Bottom flange 100 mm wide and 60 mm thick. Thickness of the web 80 mm. Overall depth of the beam 400 millimeter. Full stop. At the center of the span, comma, the effective pre-stressing force of 100 kilonewton. Effective pre-stressing force of 100 kilonewton is located at 50 mm from the soffit of the beam. Is located at 50 mm from the soffit of the beam. Full stop. Okay. Estimate the stresses at the center of the span section of the beam for the following condition. Number 1, pre-stress plus self-weight without considering any live load, that is at transfer. Second condition, pre-stress plus self-weight plus live load, that is at working condition. Okay, so this is the problem they have been given. So please read the problem carefully. First thing, it is an unsymmetrical I section. Please draw the diagram first. So they have been given dimension. Top flange is 300 with 60 depth. Bottom flange is 100 with 60 depth. And the web is 80 mm. Draw the web. And overall depth is 400 millimeter. Fine. Next, they have been imposed, that is imposed load or superimposed load or live load, okay, of 2 kilonewton per meter has been imposed, okay, with a span of 8 meter. Okay, span of 8 meter. Fine. Next, the pre-stressing force is acting here at a 50 millimeter distance. Please note down, the pre-stressing force is induced at a distance of 50 millimeter from the soffit of the beam. So at this particular distance from the bottom, the pre-stressing force is induced. Okay. Next, estimate the stresses at the center of the span section. For what? For transfer condition. Please note down, what is the meaning of transfer condition? That means pre-stressing force will be transferred through the beam. That means it is still in factory. Okay, I've been transferred the pre-stressing force and no external load the beam has been subjected. That is for transfer. In the examination, instead of giving these two, they may ask at transfer, at working. So you need to know what is the meaning of transfer and what is the meaning of working. Working means the same beam, if I'm going to subject to the external loads. So that is what you need to consider the live load. So in either of the way in the examination, they are going to ask. Okay. And very important thing you need to remember here is they have been asking the stresses at the center of the span. And in the examination, okay, in whatever the problem they are going to ask, if, okay, sometime they are going to mention just like what they have been mentioned now as center of the span. If they are not going to mention anything like center or something, you need to consider or you need to calculate the stresses at center of the span only. Please note this point. Unless otherwise specified, you need to calculate the stresses at the center of span only. Okay. Sometimes in the examination, okay, they are also going to ask at quarter span section. At that particular instance, you need not to calculate at center of span. You need to calculate only at quarter span.
Center of span.
Okay, so that also I'm going to discuss in the next. So let me go ahead with the problem. Okay, so this is the problem they have been given. Okay, and this is the thing. So as I stated, let us calculate all the basic parameters. So let me go with the first eccentricity. Eccentricity you cannot calculate now. Okay, it is not given in the diagram, please, because I've been notated here. Okay, nowhere they are being given the eccentricity. So if you want to calculate the eccentricity, okay, like first problem, they are not given the first, okay, the number of wires. Coming to the second problem, okay, like that, okay, how we have calculated, they are not being given the conditions. Okay, so then how to solve? Okay, so for time being, don't calculate the eccentricity, go to the next. So pre-stressing force, they have been given, fine. Next, let me go ahead with a cross-sectional area. Just like what I did, divide the section into 3. That is number 1, number 2, and number 3. So 3 rectangle. And please note down, in the examination, apart from rectangle, no other section you are going to get. Okay, like semicircle, circle, triangle, those shapes you are not going to get in the exam. Please note this point. Only rectangle. So number 1, number 2, and number 3. So let us divide this unsymmetrical I section into 3 rectangular sections. So let me calculate this. So number area 1 is 300 into 60. So 300 into 60. Next, area 2, 80 into this. So once again, 400 minus 120, 280. So that is 80 into 280 plus 100 into 60. Since it is an unsymmetrical section, area 1, area 2, area 3. So we'll get the answer, the same answer, 46,400 millimeter square. Is it clear? Next. Okay, before calculating the moment of inertia, first calculate the centroidal distance. Centroidal distance. Okay, so as I stated, whenever you are going to calculate the centroidal distance, you need to mark the reference axis. So in the earlier problem, I have been taught with the bottom. Now let us calculate with the top. So let me consider this as a reference axis. Okay. So what is the formula? So y bar, okay, top, y bar, top, okay, y top or y bar top, okay, measured from the reference axis equal to a1 y1 plus a2 y2 plus a3 y3 divided by a1 plus a2 plus a3. Same formula. Next, let me know what is a1. A1 is 300 into 60. Fine, fantastic. So what is y2? Y2 means the centroidal distance of the first section measured from the reference axis. So this is your y1. Okay, this is your y1. Next, let me proceed with the next y2. Okay, or next a2 into y2. That is a2 is 80 into 280. Fine. What about y2? Y2 means, okay, somewhere here. So this is your y2. So how to calculate that y2?
60
So
plus 400.
y2 is, so 60. Okay, let me go with this first. So this depth is 280. 280 divided by 2, okay, plus 60. Am I right? Am I right? 280. So this distance is how much? This distance is how much? This distance is how much? 280. Am I right? So 280 divided by 2, because it is a rectangle exactly at the center. So 280 by 2. But y2 will be calculated from the reference axis, hence plus 60. Did you get my point? Have you understood? Fine. Next, y3. Y3 is how much? Like from here. So this is y3. So this is your y3. So that means the centroidal axis or centroidal distance of this section, how much? 60 by 2, because it is a rectangle, exactly it will divide into half. But this y2 should be measured from the reference axis. Hence, I'm going to measure from here. That is 60 plus 280 plus 60 by 2. Am I right? I will repeat. 60 plus 280 plus 60 by 2. So that will give a y3. So it will be how much? Okay, almost I can say 30 plus 280 plus 60.
370.
Okay, so that is your answer. So that is 370.
370.
Yes. So divided by A1 plus A2 plus A3. Okay. Substitute this, you will get the answer 156.03 millimeter. So please try to check the answer. Okay. Please try to check the answer. 156.03 millimeter. So let me mark that 156.03 or 156. So from the top reference axis, okay, so it will be 156 because okay, you need not to be scaled. You already know that if this is 200 and this is 60 means somewhere between 60 and 200 it will lie. So that's why I've been marked here. You cannot mark exactly at the center. So please note this. All these are basic things you need to know. Okay, so it is 156. Okay, so 156 will be your centroidal distance. So now can I calculate the eccentricity? You can. You can. Because now you came to know the centroidal axis of the section. You came to know what is the, where exactly the pre-stressing force induced. With this, okay, we can calculate the eccentricity distance. How? You can see here. Okay, you already know this. The total distance is 400. In this, deduct this 50. It will become 350. So in 350, if you deduct 156, 350 minus 156, you will get 194 millimeter. In however the way you can calculate, you already know the definition. You need not to calculate whatever the way I've been calculated. You can calculate however you want. But you need to remember the eccentricity is defined as it is the distance between the centroidal axis of the section to the where exactly the pre-stressing force is induced. So that distance is called eccentricity. So for that, I've considered the total 400. In that I've been deducted the 50 because in the problem they already been given. So that is 350. Okay, so in the 350, okay, in the overall 350, deduct this, you will get eccentricity distance. Okay, next, go with the moment of inertia or second moment of area. Okay, now you cannot draw the diagram like this. Okay, join this and consider it as an entire rectangle, shade this and go ahead. You cannot go ahead like that, because it is an unsymmetrical eye section. Hence, what we need to do, go with a regular step. What is that regular step? This is moment of inertia about the centroidal axis, that is x axis. So this is what your x axis, horizontal axis, equal to moment of inertia of the first section about the centroidal axis, moment of central axis, moment of inertia of the third section about the central axis. What is that? Moment of inertia of the first section plus area of the first section into y1 minus y bar whole square. So this was the formula I was written in the last problem. So like that we need to calculate. Okay, plus moment of inertia of the second section plus area of the second section into y2 minus y bar whole square. So this should be y bar. Y bar from the bottom, y bar whole square. Okay, next, moment of inertia of the third section plus area 3 into in the bracket y3 minus y bar, y3 minus y bar whole square. Okay, so this is the next. So next, substitute this. You already know the moment of inertia of the first section. You know that it is a rectangle. Hence, the formula is BD cube by 12. What is that B? 300 into 60. So B into D. So be careful. Okay, B into D cube by 12 plus area B into D. 300 into 60. What is Y1? Y1 you already know, measured from the reference axis, 30. So that is 30 minus, okay, what is Y bar? We have been calculated 156. So 156 whole square. like that, plus second. What is that B of the second section? 80 multiply by 280. Okay, 80 into 280 cube by 12 plus 80 into 280 multiply by this y2. You already know that 280 by 2 is 140. 140 plus 60 is 200. Okay, so that is what y2. So 200, okay, minus 156 whole square plus moment of inertia of the third section. So that is B into d cube by 12. Same thing. B into d into y3. That means measured from the top reference axis. 60 plus 280 plus 30. 60 plus 280 plus 30. So it will become 370. Minus y bar 156. So we will get the answer 757.46 into 10 to the power of 6 millimeter to the power of 4. You can check the answer. You can check the answer. Okay. Next, sectional modulus. See, in the last problem, I was keep on writing ZT or ZB. Why? There YT and YB was same. Okay. Now, YT and YB are different. Okay. Because YT measured from the bottom, sorry, top is 156. Okay, this is YT. What about YB? What about how to calculate YB?
350 minus
400 minus 156. 400 minus 156. How much? How much? How much will be a YB? So 400 243.
244.
Okay, so 243.96. If you consider it as a 156.03, the answer will be 243. Okay, 6 millimeter. Okay, so this is your YB. Okay, now, okay, let me substitute that moment of inertia divided by YT. Substitute that 10 to the power of 6 divided by 156.03. Moment of inertia divided by YB, that is 243.96. So be careful. Okay, you will get the answer in millimeter cube. Next, once again, the dead load WD cross-sectional area, which is in millimeter square, divided by 10 to the power of 6 into density of concrete 24. Okay, you will get 1.12 or 1.11 kilonewton per meter. Okay, and live load they have been given in the problem as 2 kilonewton per meter. So calculate the dead load stresses. Same thing. WL square by 8. Why? Mid span. 8.96. Okay, live load moment, same thing. WL into L square by 8. That is why it is WL square by 8, because it is you are calculating the moment at or stresses at mid span. If you are calculating the stresses at mid span means you need to calculate the moment also at mid span. Okay, so WL into L square by 8. Okay, next. Let me calculate all these parameters, or else you can directly substitute. However, the way you can calculate. So now top fiber, bottom fiber have been bifurcated because both are different. So let me go ahead with direct stress, P by A, P by A. Both are same because once the pre-stressing force is induced, as we know, top also P by A, bottom also P by A. Substitute that, you will get the answer 2.15, 2.15. Now come to the bending stress at top, that is P into E divided by ZT. Please be careful, ZT and ZB are not same. It is negative, okay, because the compressive stress will be at the bottom, okay, hence it will be positive here. Next, dead load stresses MD by ZT, okay, here MD by ZB. Why it is negative and why it is positive here? Because once the load has been subjected to the loads, okay, it will create the tensile stresses at the bottom, compressive stresses at the top. Next, live load stresses, okay, the same thing, 3.29 at the top and minus 5.16 at the bottom. You can see positive indicates compression, it is negative. Now let me go with the condition. For the first condition, calculate the extreme stresses, that is, what is the F superior and what is the F inferior for transfer condition, that is pre-stress plus self-weight. So F superior is equal to 2.15 minus 4 plus 1.85. It will become 0. Okay, like that at bottom fiber, P by A plus, okay, P by ZB, okay, then minus M by ZB. Okay, that is 2.8. You will get plus 5.5 Newton per millimeter square. Draw the beautiful diagram. So 0, 5.5. Next, go to the second condition, working condition, that means live load consideration. P by A minus P by Z, okay, plus MD by Z plus ML by Z. Substitute that, okay, you will get 3.285. You can see all that parameters are there here. Next, go to the bottom fiber. So in the bottom fiber, it will become positive and it will be negative, negative. So it will come down to, okay, 3.285 F superior and 0.35 at the bottom. Okay, so this is the way you need to solve the problem, okay, or to calculate the stresses for a mid-span section when they are going to ask for transfer condition and working condition. Okay, so like this, we need to work out the